Hello everyone, welcome back to the Ranger channel. My name is Ty and I will be your host for today's tutorial. We are doing an art journal page in the sewn journal signatures that are available with the 49 and Market and Vicki Boutin. I have been working in this signature already, and so we'll just open up a page and do a double page spread. We'll also be featuring the Plume Petals collection, the newest release from 49 and Market. I love the colorway. It has these purples, these minty frosty blues, and then some beige and weathered look, and I just love the way this collection looks. So we have the 6x8 paper pad, which I have out of the packaging. We have the chipboard sentiments, the laser cut elements, which are some of my favorites. If you know, you know, but they're just, cut right along there. There's no border. They're just beautiful. Can you just see that dress? And it's the details in all of the images is just fantastic. We have the rub-on transfers, the washi tape, and then the other star of the show is the new line from Vicki Boutin and 49 and Market, the Irresistibles. They came out with the rub-on transfers recently, and now they've come out with three new sets. One that has titles in big, large fonts, and then two that are more for your added textured backgrounds. We have like the coffee rings and the text and the photo strips, and this one has a lot of lace borders and scribbly bits that we can add to your background first. The line also includes some of these die cut packs, which include, once again, like torn paper edges, borders, banners, labels, and all of these have the resist on it, so you can go ahead and add your inky color so that these elements can match any project that you are working with. And there's also a frame collection as well. So there are, once again, resistible bits on there, and as you add your ink, the image and the text and or whatever's on the item can shine through. So we'll be playing with these as well as the Plume and Petals collection. Oh, and I had this on the other file, the frames and ephemera pack from there too. And I just love this doorway. Okay, so let's get playing. We've pulled out a bunch of ink colors that I know I wanted to use that matched rather well. So we have Frosty, Dress Blues, Twilight, Sangria, and Tranquil Waters. We'll be doing an inky background. We'll be playing with some things, probably some texture paste and some stenciling, and go from there to see how this page develops. So let's get started. Now, usually I would say I would definitely be starting with like my inky background and go from there. But I took a different approach and definitely started with kind of selecting my focal images. I'm thumbing through the laser die cuts for the Blooms and Petals collection and selecting what I absolutely love. And the first thing that I punched out was the gorgeous dress. I wish there was two of these, and even that piano was quite lovely. And then the big like doorway or window frame is from the die cut pack. That one is not from the laser die cut pack, but all the rest of them are. And so I'm just auditioning out what some of the pattern papers would look like against, what I have selected, kind of making it look like this dressing room kind of motif. And a lot of these pattern papers, I am not going to lie, I really, really liked behind it as well. But I was so interested in the new Vicki Boutin Irresistible rub-ons that I was like, okay, I do like the pattern paper, but I want to play with ink and these rub-ons. So the pattern paper got scratched, and here I am already loving some of the scribbly text and the lacy borders and some of the corner elements that can spice up a background really, really easily. Previously, I had played with the Irresistibles and I was still like experimenting on how to correctly use them. So if you're familiar with my previous video or any other video on the Ranger channel, explaining these need to go down first. Because I did try to like make an inky background and then try to apply these like rub-ons and thinking they would be bright white on top of an inky background, and that's not how they work. They work first by being on the paper itself and then doing the ink on top of them, and the bright white will show. Here I am also thumbing through the Irresistible die cut pack. So I selected that banner one and then sort of like a half doily element as well. I definitely want to get some color on those because I just wanted to use elements from a few of the, products offered from the Vicki Boutin line. I am using, this is one of those what do they call it? Like paper manipulator, when you're working with paper that you want to curl, like for like floral petals, and bend onto like a spongy, came with like a board, a sponge board. So it has like these metal balls on top of each end, and they come in different sizes. I've just grabbed that. You could use a bone folder, you could use a popsicle stick to do the rub-ons. Nothing comes with the irresistible packs, so be creative and something that you can just varnish these into the paper. So once I'm applying that, I am making sure I get the little secret, I would call it like secret, little peekaboo elements that are in the corners of the page. Because usually I'm not putting any die cuts or focal images there. So I just want something that makes your eye travel from the top to the bottom to the middle, as we go across these pages. Of course, you can also do this as a one-page layout. That is also an option, but do know that yeah, when I'm playing in my art journal, I tend to do double page layouts. And so I'm just trying to show you the shimmeriness of seeing those images so you know exactly where they are. So I'm taking the two colors that I had pulled out, and I am using the mini blending tool, the one with the sponge. This is from Ranger, in order to sort of start to have these irresistibles pop out from the page. And already just adding that blue, you can already see how it contrasts very nicely against the elements I have selected, which lean more towards the purple. So I did this intentionally, choosing the blue first. Of course, you could have done a monochromatic kind of page, and I could have gone in with the purples, but there is blue in the collection, and I just liked the opposite colorway. So with a piece of inky packaging, or like, plastic packaging, I am just squishing on some of the color from the ink pad and spritzing it with water from my spritzer, and giving a purple watercolor loose imaging to the page. That way we have just, inky background going on. This is a very old and classic technique to use. I tend to lean on the simpler side. I could have, done this on maybe my glass mat, or the craft mat. That could have been options as well. But using some packaging, I always have packaging somewhere, is a surefire way to get the same look without having to, like I said, be on any of those surfaces. It just kind of controls it. So I'm going in with the darker purple and the lighter one. Once again, just looking for that contrast and using those die cut irresistibles as well. So enough of the water so that it can kind of work our way around, and you can see how I'm just applying it very randomly. Wherever it land, it shall land. There are some, darker pools of the color, and I'm okay with that. I like that irregularity and not just sort of dipping it straight into color. It's just that, I guess I could call it like the mixed media vibe of it all, like wherever it lands, and if there's some dollops of color, that's okay, and we move it on. And I liked doing these elements in purple so that they popped against the blue of the background, and then the light purple that I've already had on the page. And so I'm just going in a little bit more. Now at this point too, I think in my head, I was already thinking like, I already like this just the way it is. Like I mentioned, I wanted to do some texture paste and or stenciling, and the way it was going, I was very happy with it right here. I know it always tends for us mixed media artists to make it look almost like too messy before it starts to come together, and that's where it was at this point. So here I am, just sort of auditioning out the original idea of placement for this. I knew I wanted that little doily part on the top, and then I pulled out some of the chipboard elements for two title elements. And then on the opposite side, I am sort of setting it up as if it was, like I said, a dressing room. So you have the mannequin with the dress, and then you have the other mannequin bust and the gorgeous chair, a little nightstand. Let's get some frames on the wall. We're going to put a chandelier at the top, and then a cluster of like a old vintage clock. And so this placement thus far, I do love the way it is. I just swap out the chair and the mannequin, so that they're on opposite sides, but I love the placement. And then I also add a title piece to this left side of the page as well. And that will definitely finish off this double page layout in my art journal book. Okay, so I took the time to glue everything down. I used the Dina Wakley media glue, and everything is down, and I just rearranged these two elements and then added the little mesh element there and here behind it as well. So it's definitely a lot to look at. I love these irresistible die cut pieces, the elements in the corner. We have the floral bits, another one of the die cuts, the inky background, the chair, the cluster, the chandelier, and 2 title pieces. I did take off a layer of the chipboard in the back to make it be a little bit less bulky, but it's so, so nice. Okay, so this is what worked to hold it all down, and I feel I have the spritz here with me. This is usually what I use as my gold splatter, and I feel like this will be the last step, and then this one is completely like all done, because I always love a good gold splatter. That is just me all the time. And this one is my new favorite because I used to love, who was the other retailer that had it? Anyways, gold splatter, always a must for me. Okay, I will let that dry, and that shall be it. Just a little bit. Can you see where it's been added? Little splatters, a little splatter, little splatter. Lovely. Okay, everything will be linked down below in the description box. That way it's easy shopping for you. Give this video a thumbs up. It always helps the Ranger channel grow with new subscribers. And until next time, bye!